Hey everybody, it's Ike here. Starting off with week one of ADPL Season 6, going to be doing a weekly recap, so let's get into it. Starting off first, we had the egalitarian Exeggutors taking on the Uber Therians. The first game in the week was Black and White versus Devin versus Mad Dawg. Devin wanted to do a best of three because he's Devin. Um, and so they played early on, and Mad Dawg won it in 2 games. This was the second game. They both had sand. Mad Dawg led off with T-Tar. He got up hazards, got the landers in a bunch of times, clicked U-turn a bunch of times, got in Keldeo, traded HP for the Latios to open up his Alakazam, I'm assuming. Then he gets in the landers back in, U-turns, gets hazards up, U-turns on the Heatran, kills the Heatran with T-Tar, gets in landers on Terrakion, sacks the Keldeo, gets in Lando again, Pharaoh, sacks, and now he has Alakazam in, and this one's actually Grass Knot, so doesn't even have to worry about Focus Blast. Then switches out on Scarf Lando. Terrakion comes back in, sacks it, brings back in the Zam. Another Grass Knot coming out. Oh, Psychic this turn, same thing. Lando has to take rocks, only has one more switch in. He's sashed, so he just stays in. Kills the Terrakion. Lando comes back in on rocks and just sack Zam here. HP, that HP Ice, but Latios is at full, so unless he gets crit, he wins. Oh, it's Scarf, so it doesn't even matter. Yeah, so that was the win. So that meant the Exeggutors went up 1-0 in the series. Next game we had Seasons versus Shiox in Scarlet Violet. Seasons making his Scarlet Violet debut, and he ends up winning that game. Next game up we had was another Scarlet Violet game of Imperimento versus Javi. If I remember correctly, there was some hacks in this game. Let's see. Imperimento led off with Lead Me Oscarada, probably sets up some spikes, not just U-turns. Eject button pex to get in the Skeledirge. Interesting. It's sub. Just a Shadow Ball. Out into backs on a Volt Switch. Good play by Imperimento. Gets in the Gambit. Just Iron Heads for some chip on Tusk. Switches in on the knockoff. That's pretty big. Backs once again on another Volt Switch. Good play. Gets in King Gambit again. Probably Iron Head again unless he makes it double out into the Toad's Cruel. Wants a Spore. No, just an Earth Power. That's good too. Kills the Dirge. Greninja comes in. Got a Fury Ice Beam. Just U-turns. Now backs, sacks the Rotom. Gets in the Dragapult. Substitute. I was expecting some kind of setup set. Gets off the Wisp. Now he's probably going to spam Hex. Gambit comes in. Could be Terrifier potentially. We'll see. Nope, just gets burned actually. Break sub. Now probably Pult switches out into Dirge. Interesting, another Kowtow Cleave. Does like 37. Has to go out into Greninja. Out into Gambit. Interesting. Takes a lot. I wonder what Imperimento is saving his Terra for. Maybe the Dirge, I guess. Kind of depends on what it is. Gambit's probably too low now to use your Terra on. Tanks the Earthquake. Sets up two substitute Dirges. Interesting. Gets the Fairy Terra off, yeah. I wonder how he plans... Oh, so this is where the Hax was. Crit Flinch. Yeah, that is unfortunate. I wonder what his plan was for the Toxapex, though. Now that he Fairied it. Alright, looks like Pex probably just cleans up everything, honestly. Actually did a lot. Toxic, okay. He's got to switch back into Tusk. SD. Just a sucker for 25. EQ. He's got Meowscarada and Dragapult. Meowscarada. Oh, see that now. There's the Terrifier. Okay, it was on something, not the Gambit. Knockoff, good play. Covered both. Just switch out into the Burnt Gambit. Hex does good amount. Now just Kowtow Cleave again, or Ironhead, I guess, is better. Gets a little more chip. And it looks like Tusk just cleans up from here. Yeah, so that meant Javi ended up winning that game, so the Therians take a 2-1 lead. Next up we had an SM game of Value versus PZZ. This one was kind of funny. Basically what ends up happening is the Gastro on Value's team just walls pretty much all of PZZ's team and just sits there. Gets a good chunk off on Twinkle Tackle on the Mawile. Eventually it gets to a point where, yeah, PZZ has to go for flinches on the Gastro. He doesn't get it that time. Doesn't get it this time either, although I think with the rolls that one didn't matter unless he got it again. Yep, so then he gets a Toxic off on Rotom, and the Rotom threatens out the Gastro with Toxic, but he goes for Volt Switch, which is a good play. So at this point, Values doesn't know if he has Toxic or if he just made a good play. As the game goes on, you just end up finding out this is a non-toxic Rotom. So as long as Gastro doesn't get flinched by the Greninja, he should just be able to sit on almost the whole team and just kill all the Mons eventually. Yeah, so Rotom comes back in. Value's going to scout again for the Toxic, back to Tornadus. Defog out here from Rotom. I don't know. That play I wasn't too sure about because the Defog was actually hurting the Torn a decent, the rocks were, and then by clicking Defog you're also revealing it, and now he's revealed Pain Split, and so now the Gastro is like pretty sure that this is a non-toxic Rotom, so then it's just never has to switch. So I don't know if I would have clicked Defog there. I feel like keeping that a secret might have been better, because now the Gastro is just never switching, which is problematic. Rotom sits in, spams Pain Split, then a good Torn Switch. Didn't die to Volt Switch, so it was pretty low risk. Coco comes back in on the U-turn. Gastro comes back in, walls. Mawile comes in, forces a double, but then their own Mawile's in, and Mawile does not have to switch. Goes for a flinch, gets one. Now he's going to switch out. That's some actually pretty decent chip. I think it's probably in Hydro range from the Greninja. Gets the Z Celebrate off, and now this is probably the saddest part of the whole game. He's going to go Torn on a Searing Shot, take a lot. Then he's going to go sack the Torn. That's fine. And now here comes Gastro, 48 from Sword Power. So basically this Victini is also walled by Gastro. And it's Clear Smog on top of that, so you can't even really go for like a crit. Goes for a burn, doesn't get it. Stays in again. Gets a burn. Toxic on the Victini. And Gastro pretty much just cleans up. You missed a Hydra there. Didn't really matter there, I don't think. Suckers. Yeah, and that's game. So at this point, this is the SM game. It's all tied up at 2-2. Then we had another SV game where CCN beat Hansky, so now Therians are up 3-2. Then we had a Sword Shield game where Ombrarch and Pulsie were battling it out. I heard this was a decent game. I was going to check it out. Pulsar's got Melmetal, the GOAT, and Ombrarch's got a pretty fat team with some strong hitters as well. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. Leads off with the Melmetal into Torn. Gonna switch, doesn't want to get knocked off. Out into Corviknight, leftovers. Just gonna be a U-turn here from Corviknight, probably out into Weavile. Hits itself in confusion, might want to consider roosting this turn, we'll see. Hits itself again, that's unfortunate. Those out into Chomp, probably back into Corv on a knock or a toxic. Another knock, now you're forced to roost. Dragapult comes in. It's got a couple switch-ins. You got Weavile, Mel, and Slowking. Slowking first, usually just to scout the move. You got the regen. Weavile comes back in. Takes the Shadow Ball. Just going to click knock. Is it Helmet on the Clef? Yes. So that's a good knock. Now SD Weavile with Triple Axle is threatening the Clef if it doesn't stay at full. He switches out, so now the Clef's at 74, which means the Weavile is pretty threatening if it gets up in SD. Slowking here, back to Melmetal's probably got some Spadef. As long as he doesn't get Spadef dropped, he's good. Might see a Toxic here. No, a double to Chomp, probably to get up rocks. Gets off a Toxic, that's good too. Oh, it's the Toxic Protect set. Probably Toxic, EQ, Rocks, Protect. Now he's going to get up Rocks. Yep. Clef comes in on the EQ. Into Slowking, gets some regen back. Good play. Heatran comes back. Slowking gets up a Future Sight. Probably Chomp on Skarm. No, Urshifu. It's a good play as well. Oh, and it's Taunt, which is pretty good for Pulsar here. Taunt's not super common, so definitely caught Ombrarch off guard. Gets in the Melmetal here. Didn't scout for... Okay, was scouting with the Protect. I was going to say Fire Blast I think would kill. So it's a good scout. Here, just Earthquake on Roost. Get some lefties back. Out into Slowking, get up another Future Sight. Wonder what move if they went for a double here. Okay, they did double tier Shifu. Thought Brave Bird was a possibility there that turn, but it's a aggressive play, but it pays off. Skarm basically dead now. And now it is dead. So that's pretty good. Got Rocks up. Skarm eliminated. Torn's Toxic. Clef still pretty healthy. Now probably a defog here. Yeah, because the rocks weren't hurting that Ombrarch that bad. Okay, scouts for the Shadow Ball. Sahki Garchomp. Actually, maybe not even a sack. Wow. Like, one to Mel on the clef switch. Let's see. EQ. Okay. I would think this is toxic. Risks the Scald Burn. Gets burned for the toxic on Gastro. Yeah, I don't know if that was a necessary play. Probably could have went Slowking just to get up another Future Sight first, rather than risking the Scald Burn, but this is good still too. Probably back to Shifu. And Ombrarch predicts that. It's pretty good. Probably. Okay, he's going to take a Future Sight here, which means Torrent is going to be pretty low on the next switch in. I think U-turn out into Trend was maybe better there. Okay, Magma Storm. Now this is pretty good because, oh, he's got the Protect. That's clutch. Rocks is a no drawback play, so that makes sense. And so now Urshifu Surging Strikes. Okay. Taunt would be a crazy play here. Oh wow, never mind, just gets the roll anyways. Gets the defog off. So it makes sense for the Dragapult. Dragapult comes back in, another Future Sight. Heatran comes out on the Sludge Bomb. Shifu. Oh, Tran takes the hit, not too bad. But now Surging Strikes is looking pretty dangerous here. Oh, it's actually Storm Drain. Okay, interesting. But CC would be a kill, so he doubles into Pult and gets the U-turn off. Slowking comes back out. Another Future Sight up. Now the next time, oh, he just Scalds. Okay. Interesting. Scalds again. Protect this turn. Okay. And Slowking will die in exchange for killing Heatran, which opens up the Weavile. CC on Torn gets the crit. That's pretty unfortunate. He's kind of forced a U-turn with the Torrent. No, he stays in. So now Torrent's dead. It's actually pretty close. Weavile comes out here. Have to hope you don't get Scald Burned. Doesn't, and that should be game. Barring if it was Flame Body Tran. It's probably not though. Ice Shard. Knock off. That's game. Alright, so it's 4-2 Therians. Now after that we had RBY where Monai beats B. So now it's 3-4. Then Gondra versus Murkit and DPP. Gondra wins that, so now it's all tied up at 4. ADVT beats Spoon Lord, so now the eggs take a 5-4 lead. Or as we got PJ versus Typical. PJ wins that one. Now it's 6-4, so now it is one game away for the Exeggutors to win the series. Alright, so we got another Scarlet Violet game. This time we got Tnunes taking on Potatochan. Let's see. Alright, starting off we have Dragonite against lead Muscarada. Could be Spikes. Usually there's Spikes. It's a good lead by Tnunes. He's got Baxcalibur, which looks insane versus Potato. He's got His only resists are Gambit and the Goldango, which means I think this is an Iron Moth. Yeah, it's Iron Moth, not a Volcarona. He could have Terra Fairy on something, which is maybe on the Gambit. But otherwise, I think Tnunes can just, if he like SDs up, EQ Glaive Rush kind of just kills everything on Potatochan's team. He's also got Volcarona. Volcarona, depending on its Terra type, could be pretty good here as well. And for Potato, maybe, I don't really like his matchup, but maybe the Iron Moth can do it. It's pretty strong. Fire hits everything except the Dragonite. And if you Sludge Wave twice, you might be able to 2-hit KO it. So, something to consider. Gets up the spike here on Ice Spinner. Interesting. That's not very common. It is Sash on Meowscarada. E-Speed, Ice Spinner. I'd have to imagine... Yeah, it's got Earthquake. He gets the crit, which is really unfortunate. I don't think that should have killed. He's going to Dragon Dance up and take the EQ. He Terra Flying right away on EQ. Okay, that makes sense. Gets another one off. I don't know if he would be Roost. Looks like he's not Roost. He's going to be Aggro and EQ. Now he has to switch on Extreme Speed. So after about 8 turns, Tnunes only lost 1 Mon, Potatoes lost 2, and he's burned his Terra on this almost dead Roaring Moon. Gets a double off, so at least he gets a strong Acro off, but not looking good for him so far. E-Speed on the Gambit. Now the Tusk comes in pretty freely, so he doubles back to Moon, but he actually just E-Speeds again. Wow. Gets predicted on that turn. Going into Moth here is a bit strange, because you're going to take a lot from E-Speed. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that play, because now I'm pretty sure this thing's boosting speed. I mean, he's going to have some form of speed control if it was Ice Shard or something. So I'm not sure why he did that. Gambit comes out, no Terra, so interesting. I don't know if it's not CC or what. Maybe Moonblast, Calm Mind, Thunderbolt, and like Psyshock, I guess. Jet crits, not enough. Quaquaval goes down. And the Exeggutors end up winning that series. The final game was Jester versus Kenny, which they also won. So they end up beating the Uber Therians 8-4. So our second match of the week, we had the Plump Piloswines taking on the Star Supernova. This game actually featured first blood of the entire week when Fakee took on Amir in black and white. I'd say Amir's best known for Oras, so it's interesting seeing him play in black and white. Gets a lead T-Tar versus Landorus. Pretty good lead for the Landorus. Just gets a U-turn off. Out into Heatran, probably gets up rocks. There we go. He's going to Magma Storm the Blissey. Is he able to trap it? No. He just got the chip. Gets an Excadrill on the soft boiled. See if he gets a rapid spin off. Yes. So Lando comes in on the Gliscor. See if it threatens it out with HP Ice. Gliscor stays in. Ice Bang. Landorus lives because it's insane. Now he's going to double out to Keldeo. It's a good play. Covered pretty much everything Amir could do there. See, doubles back to Drill on Jellicent. Interesting. Oh, and it's Substitute. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Fortress, Earthquake. guess now you'd go... No, he just stays in. Oh, and Amir goes for the rapid spin, so it's pretty good for Fake. Ironhead predicts on the Gliscor. I don't know if that was necessary. Ironhead again on Xatu. You probably just Ironhead. Oh, substitutes instead. I was thinking you could just Ironhead and go for the flinch on the Xatu. He's going to go for it now. Doesn't get it. So he's got Reflect up. Bunch more Ironhead spamming. U-turn. Out into Gliscor, so he does heal it back up. But now Keldio's back in. Might see an HP Grass this turn, because Jellicent's an obvious switch. Toxic, yeah, that works too. So now the Jellicent's on the timer, so Keldeo has become a lot bigger. Oh, and it's Toxic Protect, which means, yeah, Amir is in a lot of hurt. I mean, I think you'd have to... Yeah, I mean, now he gets... I probably just... You can Pursuit or Crunch. Pursuit's pretty good. Gets the Wisp off. I guess you just Pursuit now forever because it's Toxic, so it can't really do too much here. Like even, oh, he's Rest, though. Okay. Interesting. Unfortunately, the Rest is good. Actually, the Rest is pretty good, yeah, because it's not going to be HP Grass on the Keldeo. So that changes things. Baton Pass out into Keldeo on the Ice Fang. Wow, okay. Yep. Keldeo's back into Jellicent. So, okay. I mean, Fake ends up winning this, so I wonder what his game plan is. Heatran. Now he's going to get up the rocks. Makes sense. Yeah, I guess he's just going to have to chip him down with rocks over time. Drill comes out. Probably an Ironhead this turn. Because of Gliscor switch. Yeah. And I don't know how fast this Gliscor is, but he's not going to stay in. Gets Keldeo back in. Roost there is interesting. I don't know. Would have been nice to get the chip on the Keldeo. Oh, it's Substitute. Okay. Can you Baton Pass Substitute in this generation? Oh, man, you can. Okay. Yeah, that's actually pretty bad. Yeah, so, I mean, eventually the Lando is going to break through. There's more hidden powers than Roos. So I don't know if stalling actually, I don't think stalling really does anything. Yeah, he's got a switch. So, he switches. I wonder why he switched. Guess Earth Power or EQ didn't do enough. Oh, Scarf Lando. That would make sense. That's actually pretty funny then. Yeah, I'm curious how he ends up winning this then. Is it just a flinch? No, he doesn't get the flinch. Gets the EQ off on Keldeo. That's pretty good. With Sand up, Keldeo never recovers. Okay. Now why did he... Yeah, I don't really get staying in there. What? Okay, I do not know why he sacked the Gliscor. That was weird. From everything I've seen, the Jellicent completely walled the Keldeo. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Gets another sub up. Yeah, okay. I'm confused. I felt like Gliscor pretty much beat the Excadrill forever, and the Jellicent beat the Keldeo forever. And yeah, okay. Looks like the drill just ends up cleaning up the game here. Okay, that was strange. That was strange. All right, moving on to the next game here. We got next up was DPP Aura versus Coco. Coco ends up winning that one. Then we got a Scarlet Violet game, Dasmer versus Hargwency. Dasmer ends up winning that. Then we get Madara versus Herv. Madara ends up winning it, so now it's tied 2-2. And now, where we had some drama in this series, at 2-2, it was supposed to be Dunoks versus Mimikyu Stardust. And supposedly, Mimikyu Stardust thought he scheduled for Sunday, but he actually scheduled for Saturday. Ends up missing the time, and so now instead of Mimikyu playing, Hiro has to sub in for Piloswines. So let's see. We get Sun versus some type of just bulky offense. Subpult. Oh wow, yeah, Subpult looks really, and oh, I mean maybe he's probably got a Terra the Roaring Moon. No, he goes back into the Hatterene. Okay. See, if you're just gonna sack the Hatterene, I do not know why you'd go Roaring Moon, and actually I guess it doesn't matter too much. So now Dragon Darts on the Walking Wake. Get some chip off, goes Pex on Hydro Steam. Does a good amount, but Pex is Pex, so he's forced to switch. Recover. Fiery Dance gets a boost. No, does not get a boost. Takes the Surf. Fiery Dance is again big play that turn. I don't think switching Gambit was really necessary there, but we'll see. Goes into the Torkoal on Psyshock. Looks like it's probably Specs. Gets some good chip off with Lava Plume. Gets up the rocks on Pegs. Good play. Gets the Moth back in on Toxic. So now Moth is looking pretty good here actually, because it's Recover, Surf, Toxic. I'd be surprised if it's Haze. So if he just stays in here, Fiery Dances, get some boosts up, can do some damage here. And see, now he switches. And to me that's weird. I feel like we're definitely in a position to just keep spamming Fiery Dances. I also don't know what his coverage moves were. I feel like you'd have to have like at least Energy Ball or something. Yeah, Energy Ball. I think you could have stayed in on Pex. Gone for another Fiery Dance. You get the boost, and you can Energy Ball after. So now the Iron Moth's down. Dragapult kills it. Gets in the Roaring Moon. It's a weird play because he's not really forced to switch. I mean, you're not Scarf Roaring Moon. Unless he is. I mean, I guess he could be Scarf Roaring Moon. Gets a Hydro Steam off, but problem is Pex can just come in now and just spam Toxic, really. Covers once to be safe. Oh, I guess he can just... He could have just recovered, spammed until Sun ran out, but it doesn't really matter too much. Covers here. Goes Great Tusk. And it's defense, so yeah, that's definitely beating this offensive Great Tusk. It is a jetpack at least. Let's see, does he sack this or does he just go Pex? He goes Pex. On the Draco, But it's on a timer, so it's not going to matter. Pex can just switch out here now. With no sun and on Toxic, yeah, everything's just going to die. Goes Great Tusk, but it's bulk up actually. He gets the crit. Fortunately, that's a Roost turn, so it doesn't even matter. And looks like Corv is just going to win it from here. So that was actually pretty big because instead of it being a tie game, now it is Star Supernova who are up. And so after that, then we get an Oras game of Ender versus Spec. Ender ends up winning that one. We get a Sword Shield game of Ryzen versus Gotcha, and Gotcha ends up winning that. Then we had ADV Gorex versus Cosmo. Gorex ends up winning it, so now it's tied up again. And now we have Unknown Dragon versus Melody and RBY. And Unknown Dragon, I think, went for like 30k. And I think Melanie might have went for like 10k, something like that. Not exactly sure. Don't remember. Anyways, here's the game 3 from that series. It is RBY, so I don't know too much about RBY, except that people get hacked like every other turn in this gen. And there's a bunch of weird mechanics. Alright, Jinx just goes on a tear early, takes out Snorlax. That's pretty good. Thunder Wave, Psychic crit, Paralyzed, Ice Beam, Clamp. Clamp again. I forget what that does. I thought that was supposed to do. I thought it was like Wrap or something, and it does damage each turn, but I'm not sure. Blizzard, Clamp. Whole lot of clamping going on, a whole lot of sleeping going on. Zam finally wakes up, but it doesn't even matter, it dies. Sleep is weird in this generation. Looks like this Cloyster just kills everybody. Yeah, I don't know. Thunderwave, Rest. Looks like Slowbro could potentially win. Actually, Body Slam gets the para though. Paralyzed again. Oh, don't tell me this thing just gets full parried to death. Okay, goes for Amnesia there. That seems greedy to me. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So that was a game. So Melanie ends up winning that one. And now the series is 4-5, I believe. Then GSC, we have Zakuru versus Chili's. Chili's last season was very dominant in GSC. Went like 7-1 or something like that. Or maybe he never even lost. Actually, I think he went undefeated. So he ends up winning that game. So now it's 4-6, and so the final game in the series we had was this is game 11, not the final game. We had Joya versus Sahki in SM. So Star just needs to win this game, and they take the series. So we get lead Garchomp, gets up rocks. Celesteela comes in. See if this is Leech Seed, probably. Leech Seed Protect, see what type of Magearna it is. No, he makes the double on Protect. It's a good play. Makes the double on Protect again. Okay. Switches out, doesn't want to get Scald burned. Makes sense. Pex comes in. Pex doubles out into Excadrill, anticipating. Not sure. I guess he was anticipating Magearna. Gets a Corkscrew Crash off. Okay, kills Torn. Bisharp Estes. Okay, that's... Now he's got to play Sucker Punch War. Let's see. That's 3. Yeah. I mean, here, I think if you're Sahki here, I probably would have attacked sooner because I think Joya, wow, he actually attacked that turn. Personally, I think if you're Joya, you just spam SD because every sucker punch you remove is pretty good for you. I guess it didn't end up mattering because Heatwave missed out on the kill. So, but if he had like Sacred Sword on Kartana and he'd wasted all of the suckers, yeah. So I would have just spammed SD and if you remove all the suckers, then you could have gone cart there and not lost your Zapdos. Gets the Ice Punch off. Okay. It's looking like looks like Coco ends up winning, I guess. Yeah, because he doesn't have Drill anymore. Yeah, I'd say really that the Drill play really cost him. Because now he's just got nothing for the Coco. Go Steela. Protects on the Gigavolt Havoc. Oh yeah, it goes through Protect, so yeah, it makes sense why he did that. I think if you're Joya, probably just should have sacked something instead of going for Protect. Because I think maybe if you'd sacked the cart, I don't even know if EQ from Celesteela kills though, so. Yeah, kind of depends on what the Toxapex was as well. Yeah, so Sahki ends up winning that one. And so then the start, they take 7-4 lead, and then the final game was Amy versus Keldeo in SV, and Amy ends up winning that. So Star Supernova actually ends up winning 7-5, which means Mimikyu Stardust missing his game definitely could have cost them. Because if he ended up winning that game, this would have been a tied series. Alright, so now we're moving on to Phantom Troupe versus Mafia. First game of the series was RBY. You have Amaranth versus Eladir. Amaranth, consensus best RBY player in the pool, I believe. Ends up winning that one in like 2 games. So pretty solid win from them. Pretty expected. Next up we had X-Ray versus Yule LP. X-Ray, also very strong Smogon player. Ends up winning that one, so now the series is 1-1. Next up, oh snap. Let's see, what was it? I think it was DPP had to be the next game versus Ladon versus Society. Society ends up winning that one. Probably not worth watching if Society was playing it, but we'll see. Next up, ADV, PU versus Orchid. PU ends up winning. I saw something about an Aerodactyl. Pretty cool. So now next up actually in the series was this black and white game between Wait 2 Seconds and BluBirds. So the series was tied at this point. This ends up actually being a pretty cool game. So on Wait 2 Seconds side, he's got Rain, but with this Scarf Mamoswine. And Mamoswine is pretty threatening to BluBird. He's got the Rotom, so he's got to manage HP on that pretty well, because otherwise EQ or Icicle Crash can just straight up claim something. So right off the bat, we're going to get a Pharaoh versus Heatran lead. Interesting. Ends up being on a balloon. He gets the Magma Storm off on the Keldeo. That's some pretty good damage. He's going to go Latios on Water Move. And no T-Tar on Way 2 Second side, so he doesn't have to worry about a Pursuit Trap here. He's just going to recover. Goes back into Heatran on Rocks. Makes sense. He makes the double, expecting Keldeo to come back out. And now he's going to make the Volt Switch play because... Oh no, this is Volt Absorb, so he makes the Wisp play. Yeah, that makes more sense. Gets in the T-Tar here. Pursuit Trap is pretty good. You can take the Thunders pretty well with the Spadef boost. and in sand it's 70%. So he gets pretty unlucky there with the full para. Doesn't get the pursuit chip. Politoed comes out, gets in the Rotom on the Toxic, which is a good play from way 2 seconds because this Rotom is pretty threatening to his team. So now it's on a timer. Good Volt Switch there, anticipating him not to want to switch in Thundurus or Mamoswine on a Hydro Pump. Gets up the rocks, gets up spikes. I believe he EQs this turn. This is good. Getting chip on this is pretty good for the Alakazam. He gets a spike up here. I really like the switch there on the Pharaoh on this after the second spike because you expect some people to set up the third spike, so they're gonna stay in EQ. So it's a nice way to get in your Thundurus pretty safely. And now because he didn't get the Pursuit Trap damage off. This turn here, I believe he's going Latios to preserve the T-Tar as a sack, but he ends up getting crit, which is pretty unlucky as well. So far, BluBird has not had very good luck in this game. Gets the Psychic off, so now the Alakazam is a huge problem because the Pharaoh is at 75, and if it's Focus Blast, I think probably one Psychic into F-Blast probably kills it. So now the Scarf Mamoswine comes out, it's locked into EQ, or locked into Icicle Spear. Gets the free Volt Switch, good play, anticipating the switch. Now the Zam comes back in, it's just going to Psychic, gets a kill. Mamoswine comes back in. Now he's got Balloon Tran, which is pretty smart play because you know you're not going to die. He pops the balloon, but at least you get a switch in. Is he going to make... I think he makes a double this turn. Yeah, he makes the double back to Zam. Really heads up play there. Knows he's... needs to win the sack war here against the Scarf Mamoswine. So it's really good play by BluBird. It's just going to keep Psychicking the Tentacruel. I think this turn he switches in Pharaoh because he's trying to preserve sacks here. So he gets the Psychic. I think Focus Blast might be at roll, so he doesn't risk it. And he doesn't want to risk missing either. So he gets in the Landorus on the Gyro Ball. I think now he can just EQ. Yeah. Keldeo comes in, forces out Lando. Or no, he has to sack Lando here to get the Zam back in. Sacks Tentacruel. Now he's going to get the Scarf Mamoswine back in. So now he's got to call... gets in the Rotom Wash for EQ versus Pump. The Keldeo play, I think, is to get a Sacred Sword off on the Rotom, yeah, to open it up for the Mamoswine, which makes sense. But now it's just like the Mamoswine, like you have to, yeah, you EQ here, but now the Rotom comes in, and so now this turn you got Mamoswine in, it's locked into EQ, but the Rotom is toxic. So you can either go for the Pump, predicting Mamoswine to stay in, and then you win the game with Heatran versus the Ferrothorn, or you go for Pump as they go Ferrothorn, and then your Rotom dies, and then the Mamoswine wins. So it's just a true 50-50 here. And so we'll see who ends up getting it. So wait 2 seconds, makes the double. Oh, right. Pain Split. I forgot about that option. Yeah, Pain Split kind of covered everything there. That was actually very good. And so now here's another turn. If you're wait 2 seconds, if you want to go Mamoswine on a Volt Switch to try to get some more toxic damage, then go back to Pharaoh, and hopefully, I don't know if you can win actually from this point. So he goes Mamo on the Volt Switch, yeah, get more toxic chip. I mean, now you kind of got to go back to Pharaoh. And he makes the doubles Tran, which is really good play by him. He had good positioning there. It's tough plays for wait 2 seconds to make every time. He's got to make a bunch of right plays in a row. Doesn't get it, and so now goes to Mamoswine. And I think that's HP. So I don't actually know what HP that is. If it's I think there's Flash Cannon in this generation, so I don't know, maybe like HP Water or something. I don't know what HP Water would be for, though. I'm not sure, but it gets the HP, kills the Mamoswine, ends up winning that game. It's a pretty good game. So after that, series is now 2-3 in Mafia's favor. We get the SM game. Oh, gotta highlight this one. We have Shiloh versus Ahsan. I don't know if any of you guys watched this one, but pretty heinous game actually. So see Ahsan spikes going up from the Greninja, sets up with the Scizor, Bullet Punch, Sash, expected, gets the taunt off. It's gonna Bullet Punch again, yep. Gets the Magnezone in for the trap. Superpowered, kills the Magnezone. Alright, so Scissors now killed 2 Mons in exchange for a Spike. Lele comes in. Yeah, doesn't want to switch anything into. You can't really. This Scizor would be the thing you'd normally switch in. So I'm assuming that the last move was knockoff. Actually, no. I don't even know what the last move was, because... Oh, it must have been... I think he was still toxic, or taunted, so it must have been Roost. Yeah, so now you got the Serp coming in, sets up a sub, and this is where the game takes a turn. It's the sub Leech Seed set, and now Ahsan's in a pickle because Pex can't really do anything. He's gonna get the glare up, so now Pex can't even move, and also Leaf Storm is just gonna start doing damage to like the whole team because the Scizor is dead. And Zapdos only resists it once, plus it's more defensive than specially defensive, so that's still going to be doing a lot. He gets the Haze off at least, so that's one Leaf Storm burned, but stalling out the Leaf Storm is going to be pretty tough to do, especially with full paras. So he just sacks the Pex. Now there's 5 Leaf Storms left, but there's only 4 Pokemon left. So if you do the math here, he can also just repeatedly sub. So he keeps subbing. Zapdos taking more. He only loses like 1% every time because Zapdos has more HP than Superior. Or 2% each time. He's only losing 2%, so you can just keep spamming sub. Eventually the Zapdos will be in Leaf Storm range. Keep subbing, keep subbing. I think what ends up happening is he misses a Heat Wave, which is what Shiloh was going for here. So if you miss a Heat Wave, you get the free sub, you get a free attack into the next Mon. And assuming that this isn't like Scarf Garchomp, that means you'd probably just win. Okay, so he doesn't get the miss. But Zapdos is dead anyways. Blacephalon comes out, gotta switch out into Diancie, Flamethrower, does 35 good damage. Garchomp gets up rocks. Guess he didn't want to risk Scarf. Goes Clefable now, save the sack. EQ, soft-boiled, EQ, soft-boiled. Now he makes the double on an expected soft-boiled. Now he glares. Gross. Now they Thunder Wave. Some disgusting action going on here. Full para, Moonblast. Gets the special attack raise, which is hilarious. Now full para. Gets the Leaf Storm off. Gets a Moonblast off. Doesn't raise the special attack. Not that it matters at this point. Gets the sub. He goes for the subs and the full para, which is just gross. And yeah. So now the Blasef comes in and it dies. So basically Shiloh is a lucky dog here. Lucky Dog gets away with it. Don't calc Shadow spec Shadow Ball from Blacephalon at +1 versus DNC. Don't do that. Just yeah, Shiloh got lucky. We know this. All right, moving on. So now after that game, it is now 2-4 in the Mafia's favor. Next up, we got Oras Noisy versus Ruffles. Noisy ends up winning that one 3-4. Kiksana takes on Askoff and Scarlet Violet. Kiksana, Academy member. I think he made top 16 of OST. It's pretty good. Pretty good accomplishment. So yeah, he ends up winning that one. Now it's tied up. And now we got Theo, Academy legend, taking on ACR1. Making his Pokemon return. He hasn't played in like over a year. Let's see how it goes. Alright. So we got some Slowking on Slowking action. Future Sight, you know what it is. Chilly Reception, basically teleport. Everybody's favorite move. Gets in Dragapult. They're both gonna double because they don't want to be taking Future Sights on anything. Okay, so now we got Gambit on Gambit action. And we're gonna get the doubles again. Now we're gonna get some Chomp setting up hazards. Now we get some Headlong Rush does some good damage, but Rocky Helmet Chip plus that's good for Gambit. Hydreigon's gonna come in, sets up a substitute. Been seeing this a lot lately. This sub nasty plot, Terra Steel Hydreigon, seems pretty good. Yeah, it's nasty plot sub. I think most of the time I've seen it, it's Dark Pulse Draco. So I think that's what this one is. So he kills the Pult, gets in Volcarona. He's gonna switch. Now, I'm not 100% sure. I guess it makes sense. So he's gonna get the. So right there, yeah. I mean, going Slowking. These turns were interesting. I think it was banded. I'm pretty sure because doing 53 to Slowking non-stab seems like a lot. So now he gets the crit on Great Tusk. That's actually pretty good because it denies any spin or anything like that. Garchomp on Pyro Ball and Future Sight. So now he's going to get Dragonite in. He's going to dodge. Gets the Dragon Dance off. That's pretty lucky. Now the Slowking comes in and it's going to be Terra Normal E-Speed, which is decent here, but there is a Hydreigon. So he E-Speeds, gets 43, takes the Draco. I don't think he has Roost on this set. I'm not sure. I know he's got EQ. Okay, so he kills there. Yeah, that play was interesting to me. I think DDing again didn't make too much sense in the Gambit. Also, I don't know. He just got suckered, and I don't know why he didn't Extreme Speed. Because it still would have done a lot at +2 normal, and then you deny suckers. Then he gets in the Volcarona here, and this is where things get weird because ACR1 switches because he doesn't want to risk like a Will-O-Wisp or a random like Terra Fairy, I guess, Will-O-Wisp. So he goes to the Cinder, takes the Flamethrower, then Volcarona dies, and now you're thinking, well, okay, surely this is game over, right? Well, he gets the Sucker Punch kill, so it's not He had Will-O-Wisp on the Cinderace, so yeah, actually, I have no idea. He has Will-O-Wisp. I have zero idea why he did not Will-O-Wisp this King Gambit. That looks like an 85% win to me as long as you hit the Wisp. Yeah, so I cannot tell you why he did that. So he does it to go out into D-Knight. on Slowking, and then Slowking just gets sacked because it's banded. So he does that to get the Supreme Overload boost. And then he gets crit. Okay. So I guess his thinking there was... Yeah, I mean, I guess his thinking there with the... See, I don't know, though, because Pyro Ball's 90%, so I think you should have just clicked Wisp anyways, because 90, 85... The only way it would turn out bad is you click Wisp, you miss on an SD, and then you would click Wisp again, and as long as you hit, then you're perfectly fine. The only way it wouldn't work out is if you missed the Wisp again, and then they attacked, and now you got +2 Gambit. So yeah, I don't know. I think Will-O-Wisp was perfectly fine there. Obviously he got crit though, so he should have won this game. So then yeah, it just gets Iron Head, and then Gambit just ends up being faster, so he's got to do some Sucker Punch Wars. He's got to outplay like 5 of them. And then Theo shows off his academy knowledge. Gets him with the Sucker Punch mind games, ends up taking that game. So now we got 4-5 in favor of Mafia. So next up, then we had another SV game. We had Mihawk taking on Crispy Bacon. Crispy, seen him do well on the live Smogon tours. He ends up winning that game. So now it's 6-4, which means Mafia only needs one more of the next 2 games, and they'll take the series. So then first up, we had GSC Patate Deuce versus TLTK. TLTK last season was the number 2 GSC player behind Chili's. He ended up going like 7-2 or something like that. So he's a pretty good player. Patate was my manager in CTF. He's pretty solid. So he ends up actually winning that game. So now it is 5-6. So Phantom needs to win this next game to tie the series. And it's SV. We got myjava taking on FC Academy Team Building Headmaster. See how it goes. Alright. We got some pretty typical looking SV teams. Garganackle, Great Tusk, Dragapult, Baxcalibur, pretty standard stuff. Just going to get up rocks here on the Great Tusk. Moongus comes in. Spores, King Gambit. Good stuff. Iron Moth going to come out now that he can't get spored. Takes the Giga Drain. Sludge Wave looking good. Just overheats. Dragonite comes in, but it is a Jetpack, which is pretty nice for removing the multi-scale from D-Knight. And now that's if you go into Great Tusk there, you're kind of saying you have Ice Spinner, or I guess just knock. You don't really want to take a knock off on your D-Knight, so it makes sense. So now we're gonna get Tusk on Tusk action. It's bulk up. Typically with these Tusk interactions, you want to knock first, and then a lot of times if you're slower, you want to be clicking Rapid Spin because there's no reason not to. You'll be faster the next turn and you get a little chip. So yeah, unless they click Rapid Spin as well, but I mean you shouldn't be clicking Rapid Spin if you're faster. So he gets rocks back up, Chilly Reception out of the Slow King, back into Great Tusk, threatening to knock off the leftovers. FC is like, I don't care if you knock off my leftovers, I want some chip. And so he gets some chip. Now he's going to be like, well, I want more chip, so I click Protect. No, he actually loses the leftovers, just clicks Recover. Interesting. Might be like EQ on this last then, or like Body Press or something. Recovers again, gets more chip on Great Tusk. Now rocks go up. It's a good play because he's just spamming Recover. It's pretty free. And the other thing you have to keep in mind here is Sulk here with lefties is only doing 6% chip for each turn. So, I mean, if you do quick maths here, he's got 40%. That's like 6 rounds of Sulk here chip. And the Garganack only has 4 recovers, so you can't actually stall out the Sulk here long enough. So he's forced to switch. Dragonite comes in, takes a T-Wave. It might not be the end of the world if he's E-Speed. He's still, yeah, U-turn, good play there. Gets full parried, probably E-Speed. No, he's not. Is he not E-Speed? Just a roost there. I guess he was expecting a switch. Yeah, I don't think myjava had to switch there. Did get the crit, so that's unfortunate. And now, yeah, Pult forces you out. Pretty big thing about this generation is there's no more hail and snow, and it doesn't do chip, so the Dragapult doesn't have to worry about staying in. Tusk comes in, gets the HP back. Rapid Spin? Yep, Rapid Spin. Slowking comes in, probably goes out into D-Knight again. Oh, is that 49? It's actually pretty unlucky that he's not going to get back to full. But myjava lets him get back to full. It's pretty okay. I guess you go Dragapult. I mean, if you're FC, yeah, you probably have to stay in an attack. And yeah, U-turn, it's pretty free. So this is actually a better situation than he was in just a turn ago, because now he's at full as the future sight goes up. I don't understand the DD there, I guess. I mean, you gotta click a move, but yeah, I guess that makes sense. And he gets full parried. That's actually pretty unfortunate. I don't know if +1 Terra normal E-Speed killed, but it would have been close for sure. So now he's going to Glaive Rush. Might be banded backs. He does have this thing asleep. Only does 43 though, so he kind of needs some good sleep turns if he wants to kill this thing. He goes Tusk instead. Got the chip. Now he's going to, I guess, EQ. Yeah. Probably doesn't have CC. It's probably knock last move. Tusk on the Icicle Crash. That's killing. Goes Moth. I guess is banded. Still does a lot. Interesting. Overheat. Makes sense. Yep, he's a Jetpack as well. Another Glaive Rush. Huh. Now why didn't he Glaive Rush there? That I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that turn. I'm not sure why he didn't Glaive Rush. I mean, I guess the thinking was you take double damage from Sucker Punch. It's the only thing I can think of. Now he's going to EQ on Slowking. Good play. I don't know if banned EQ does 60. No, it only does 34. But he is faster. Oh, and it's a speed tie. Wow. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, this game ends up coming down to the speed tie then. Wow, I'm amazed. Yeah, Slowking, wow. Eats the energy ball for 43, and now he's going to click knockoff. Oh, and he Terra Waters. Smart play. Yep. That is the game. Wow. Very close. I guess myjava was favored slightly there with the Baxcalibur because you have the flinch chance if you won the first speed tie, which is an additional way to win. So, I mean, pretty marginal though, like 55-45, something like that. So, yeah, then that means myjava wins. Phantom Troupe ties the series up 6-6, and that leads us to our final series. We got Andromeda Galaxy Cosmogs taking on the Celadon City Chancers. First game of the week, we had Maverick versus Coach in SV. Maverick ends up like losing his whole team to a Corviknight, and then Then he basically just goes, well, if my whole team is dead, I'm going to bring in a King Gambit, and I'm just going to win. So he goes into the flying type. So now it's like, oh man, what am I doing? Doesn't get any chip on that. Now Pult comes in. This ends up being Banded Sucker, so he actually gets good chip on that. Then he gets another chip. I guess Mav, see if you're Sucker there, I mean, I don't know if he just didn't calc it or what and didn't know it was banned. But like, why not just SD that turn? So now he gets Mach Punched on the Kowtow Cleave. See, that was interesting to me. Do Pawmots, they really just don't run electric moves? That's kind of funny. Oh, I mean, I guess he was trying to dodge Sucker. Which, I mean, if... Yeah, no, that definitely killed. Crazies, yeah. So Mav just predicts the Mach Punch. Which is why... Yeah, I don't know. That was an interesting turn. So he gets that one right, and then what do you know? He gets the next play right. Crazy. Ends up winning it with the Sucker Punch games. Okay. So the second game up, then we had RBY game between Xylo and 48. 48 actually ends up winning that one. Good win for him. Then we have DPP, Churi versus Zora. Zora ends up winning that one. Now it's chances are up 2-1. Get an Oras game, Zavara versus Anvilhead, who makes his reappearance. I think he didn't play in last season, but before that he was a manager. He ends up losing that one though, so now it's tied up 2-2. Then we get SM, we get Zeden versus Prof Trees. Zeden ends up winning that one, 3-2 for the Cosmogs. We get ADV up next. We get Fruhdazi versus Sergio. This one was a funny game. I'm not super experienced in ADV or anything. So this first turn with Brick Break, I do not know if Brick Break... I mean, I'm assuming the Brick Break does not kill. Because Sergio ... I'm not sure what he was going for. He might have gone for his own Brick Break or maybe for rocks. But obviously if that didn't kill, it matters. He gets in the Swampert. He makes a double on HP Grass, which this is not good because T-Tars typically run Fire Blast in this generation, I'm pretty sure. So he goes for Protect now. Now he's like, well, okay, Fire Blast, I gotta switch. Switch out to Selby, which takes a lot, but it is faster, so you can just recover. Moltres comes in. Some Moltres gaming. He's got to switch. He's going to switch out into Aerodactyl, which takes a lot from Fire Blast, actually, so you can only switch in one more time. He's going to make the double. Gets punished by Protect, though, so now he's in a bad spot. He's going to have to switch back out into... This time he goes Swampert. I think Swampert should force out the Moltres. Gets a burn, which really sucks because burn in this generation is 12%, and he's not lefty, so he's taking 12% every turn. Which means he's only got like 6 more turns with that Swampert. He gets in the Moltres and decides just going to trade Toxic. So really, if he was going to make this play, he should have just went that first instead of the Swampert. He ends up getting punished pretty hard for that. Now another Fire Blast comes out. The Aerodactyl super low too. Can't really switch into anything, but at least he forces out with a Rock Slide. I don't know. Yeah, it's leftover, so you don't want to stay in. You're not going to kill Metagross. Makes the Celebi double on Skarmory. I think that is expected. He's going to get up his spikes here. I think Celebi, I think they just run like... Oh, okay. It's Hidden Power... I don't know if that's electric or fire, but he's going to get a crit kill. That's another unfortunate turn. Aerodactyl comes back out. He's going to force Moltres out again with Rock Slide, so he makes the double Swampert on Celebi, so that's not great. Celebi, I mean, I think you just... I don't know if this is like a Leech Seed here or just a Calm Mind. He just goes for a Calm Mind. Moltres should force this out though, at least. And let's see, does he make a predict this turn? No, he just Flamethrowers. Gets some good damage though. So now both Moltres on a timer, so they're not going to be recovering this game. Gets the Overheat kill. At least the Moltres is dead. Now T-Tar comes back in. I think this is a Pursuit gen, so it might have Pursuit. No, it's not Pursuit. Okay. Yeah, actually, I don't remember if there's Pursuit in this generation, actually. Okay. So he gets the Leech Seed off. Celebi's hanging on by a thread, but it's got the Leech Seed. So now he's going to recover. Fruhdazi's probably going to switch, because the recover is obvious. And gets in his own Celebi. I think it might be both Calm Mind, not sure. But he's going to make the Aerodactyl on the Calm Mind play. It's a good play. Expecting him to not just like raw attack into Celebi. So he at least gets some damage off. He's going to hit him up with the Hidden Power. I don't know if that's Bug. Bug seems like it'd be crazy. Maybe it's just Hidden Power Flying. That makes more sense. Okay. Celebi back in on the Moltres. Double. Moltres going to fire off. Oh, it's slower, so... And, yeah. That turn, yeah, it's a tough turn. If he attacked, he's in a better spot. I don't know if he is able to win from that, though, so maybe going for the aggressive Hidden Power was a good play. He's going to get Aerodactyl in on Celebi switch, which is nice. He's going to fire off another Hidden Power Flying, I think. Yeah, now EQ should pick this up. I don't think this was Scarf, right? So I don't know why he made that switch. Yeah, it's not Scarf. I'm not sure. I mean, unless they're banded. I don't know. Is there even band in this generation? I don't remember. So anyways, yeah, he made a switch. And Aerodactyl lives on 2%, which... slimmer of a hope of a chance. And he's going to click Rock Slide here. Gets his own crit. Kills the Porygon. That's actually pretty good. He's going to go out to Swampert here, and now Agility Metagross is going to clean up the game here. EQ, Swampert, it lives. Gets a juicy Hydro Pump off. I want to say there's like one more. He gets a crit here, which, I mean, I'm not sure. That's like, I think it's Hidden Power Fire probably on the Celebi. So probably would have killed. Yeah, so. I mean, I don't know what Mon Fruhdazi had in the back, but yeah. Sergio did get unlucky at times. Not sure who wins that game without hacks, but. So the series ends up being 4-2 in favor of the Cosmogs after that game. Then we're going to get a Scarlet Violet game. We got Happy versus Hachimaki. This one's kind of like, this is basically a revenge game for the Sergio game, if you want to call it that. Basically, what ends up happening is, there just ends up being this Terrafly Iron Valiant behind a sub, which threatens to just kill everything. And so basically, Happy realizes, yeah, this thing's going to kill everything, so I just got a crit, and it crits, yep, and now it's dead. So, yeah. From here on out, I can't shed tail. Rest of the game is actually a decent game from this point on. Cloudsire comes in, recovers a couple times. Roaring Moon comes out. Tinglu comes in. Roaring Moon's not going to be able to touch it without a Terra type. And I will say here, I do not. I feel like Hachimaki. I mean, yeah, yeah. I guess the game was over at this point. Yeah, no, yeah, it was over. Okay. I thought maybe if it was like DD, he had a chance, but I guess he just wasn't DD on this team. So I was thinking if you're DD, I mean, DD boots, you Ruination, backs is at 50. You Glaive Rush into the Tinglu, I believe that kills, or just Icicle Crash. And the Clodsire and Pult die, so it just comes down to what the Dondozo set is. And I think if the Dondozo, yeah, realistically, you probably aren't beating Dondozo. Any set really will probably end up winning that exchange. So I can see why he forfeited. So then it ends up being 4-3 for Cosmogs, and then we get a black and white game between DaBaby and Calamity Greed. Probably everyone's favorite player in the whole tour, DaBaby, loading up in black and white. Let's see what he's got. He's got a sand team with the Breloom, probably Toxic Orb if he's Protect. Yep, there we go. He's facing the Rain team. Gets in Zapdos. Okay. Clicking moves. Ferrothorn comes out. He's going to switch on a Volt Switch. I think it has, yeah, he wanted to avoid the Heat Wave. Gets Sand Up. He's going to switch to Drill on a Draco. And I figured that Draco makes a lot of sense from the Latios this turn. Excadrill doesn't really take it that well, but it does take it. He's got lefties, so he's going to be recovering some of that back. Gets in Breloom on the double to Torrent's a good double. Now he's going to be clicking, Hurricane? Does good amount of damage to Hippowdon, but it's not very reliable outside of the rain, so he's going to have to switch. Gets in Ferrothorn on rocks. He's going to probably Leech Seed this turn to get some HP back. No, he just gets up rocks. Okay. Makes sense to me. He's going to get in Latios on... Okay, predicts that. HP Ice, I'm assuming. Now he's going to get another Draco off here. I think this should claim, unless he goes Slowking and then pivots out into Drill, which is possible for sure. Yeah, he's going to go out into Drill on the next Draco, take it. Draco misses, which that's actually pretty unfortunate because that still would have done like 30% and Drill would have been a good bit lower. Now Drill's all the way up at like 60. Which, I don't know, it could matter for like Tornadus Hurricane range or something like that. It's going to go Breloom, Tentacruel, Seed Bomb, does some good damage. I don't even know if Tentacruel really forces you out. Nope, does not. Gets off a Bulk Up. I mean, I think if it has Sludge Bomb, yeah, it makes sense. It's going to Seed Bomb here. Drain Punch, okay. Same difference. It's going to double out into Waddy. That's a heads up play. Now he's going to get another Draco off. Should claim a kill here. See, this is where not getting the chip on Drill matters because now he's actually able to freely go into a different mon and now the Latios is dead. So yeah, that Draco miss was pretty costly. Pretty unfortunate Draco miss. Latios could still be alive, or at least force a Hippo Sack or something like that. So yeah, so Breloom comes back in on the Scald. Torn comes out. Zapdos in on a Hurricane. Some decent damage. Gets the Confusion finally. Leftovers back. Doesn't have a ground type though, so didn't want to risk the Confusion hit. Makes sense. Gets in Slowking though. Now he's going to go Drill on rocks. I mean, this turn I think you have to like EQ. Okay. Now, I mean, he must have checked his HP, I guess. because if you're at 12% and you die to rapid spin, then you don't get the spin off. Let's see. Here, does he die? No, he lives. Okay, yeah. So that's actually, this drill got so much value when it should have been dead. That's actually crazy. So he gets the slack off here on the power whip. Interesting. I mean, long term, power whip will miss. So if he doesn't get crit, knock off, yeah, that's a good play. Deny the leftovers, so now you can't actually stall out power whips because eventually you will lose health. Goes Breloom though, doesn't want to take a power whip. He's probably clicking Drain Punch this turn, if I had to guess. Yep. Get some good chip off, probably a spike. Yep. Another Drain Punch this turn, I would imagine. Goes Tentacruel. Doesn't want to take rocks on the Torn. Ends up bulking up here. Gets the rapid spin off. That's pretty big, actually. Now he's going to drain. Makes sense. Just going to drain again. Seed Bomb. Interesting. So now this Torn is pretty... I mean, this... Yeah, it's not Mach Punch at least, so... Always faster. Misses a Hurricane. Unfortunate. Slowking comes out, probably just gonna, I don't know, surf. Scald, same thing. Gets the burn, that's pretty good. Now the Politoed's on a timer. Breloom comes out. On the Scald. He doubles, anticipating, I guess, Tornadus. I don't know. I think the Torn was into a KO range, so I don't know if you needed to make that play, but... is what it is, I guess. I mean, this way you keep Hippo up, but you are risking confusion at this point. Yeah, I don't know. Gets rocks up as he dodges Hurricane. Well, dodges another. And so, yeah, no, now this Torn is pretty much can't do anything. I think last move, what, Whirlwind or something? Yeah, Whirlwind. Yeah, that's pretty much game. I'm assuming it's like a probably Scarf Hippo. If the Keldeo was Scarf itself, maybe, but you always got a Slowking, so I'm not sure if it can do it. And now if you're just Psychic, you just Psychic everything. Yeah, and he is Psychic, yeah. So that should just be a pretty clean wrap up here. Even here you could Psychic if you wanted to, but he's just going to go Breloom, play it safe. Now you just get a free Drain Punch off, or Seed Bomb, just in case they go Keldeo. I mean, which they wouldn't, but you never know. Probably sack that Hippo here. I guess not even sacking unless they hit 2. Okay, sacks Hippo. Get in. Slowking? Interesting. I think I probably would have gone Mamoswine, right? Because if you get the confusion, I mean, like, the only way this Keldeo's winning is if they can hack your Slowking. I guess there's really not much you can do. Even if you got confused, you could just switch. But, yeah. That's gonna be it. The baby takes it. Wait. Wait, what was going on here? Why did he go out into... Interesting. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. Okay. Yeah, didn't matter. He had like 4 months left. Alright. So after that game, that was black and white. It's now 5-3 for the Cosmogs. We get the GSC game happens next. Blazing Dark versus Mr. Bingus. And as everyone expects, Mr. Bingus takes it down Everyone saw that coming. Next up, we had SS. We had Storm Zone versus 3D. Featuring some pretty big names. Storm Zone, obviously. Very notorious on the ladder. This game ends up being some dark spam, kind of, with the Crawdaunt and the Weavile against just some typical sand. I would say when I watched this game, Storm was pretty much in control just the whole game. Got like all the plays necessary to win, right? Gets toxic. I mean, the banded fire punch was good, but then it just allows in Crawdaunt, so at the end of the day it's not even that good. Loses Rotom, which was necessary. I think there was something in this game that I can't remember. I mean, yeah, kill the Crawdaunt here, but now Clefable's down, which is good for Weavile. Volcarona. Oh yeah, this is what it was. It was just, I mean, the Volcarona just sets up and it just wins. He was always in a tough spot though, because the sand was ending, which is unfortunate. And he happens to be Bug Buzz as well, so now he's just, yeah, he's just super, super boned. And then here he gets the Hurricane Confusion. I think in retrospect, you probably had to go hard Torn on the Volk rather than Moonblasting it and just hoping for some Hurricane stuff. Because then if you force it to attack at least, then you can get in the Exeggutors. So yeah, I think he just really I don't know. I think he kind of just underestimated the Volk's potential there. So yeah, he ends up losing that game, and so now the Cosmogs are up 6-4, and now we have one more game. This is game 11. Cosmogs, they win it, they take the series. It's Corphish versus Young Lattery, and if I remember correctly, oh wait, this is the wrong game. Sorry. Oh, well, I found out now that I just put in the wrong replay. Okay, that makes sense. Let me find the actual game. Okay, here we go. So now we have the actual game. We got Young Lattery versus Corphish. It's going to be a lot of lead Masqueradas in these replays. Interesting. I mean, it's good, but I don't know. I don't know if it's like the best to just lead Masquerada and get up one spike and then sack it. But a lot of people seem to be doing it, so we'll see how it goes. Energy Balls, get some good chip on Slowking. Slowking's going to Chilly Reception out, get in Dragonite. Dragonite's going to take a Sludge Wave. Dragon Tail misses. That's pretty unfortunate. And now, Dazzling Gleam. From worst to worst. Yeah, that bad to worst. Okay, he's going to go into his own Baxcalibur and Terra Fairy on a... Actually, I don't even know why he Terra Fairy. That's kind of weird. What does that even cover? Terra Fairy on... I mean, because if they Sludge Wave, then you just die. Oh, on Dazzling Gleam, I see. Sorry, yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So now he's got in the backs, and it's looking rough. You know, he's got to outplace 8 Sucker Punches. I mean, if I'm him, I'm Dragon Dancing at least 5 times. At least 5 times. Yeah, I think, yeah, on that one, it's just like, in that situation, right, like, this Ultra Pink guy, he's probably clicking Sucker, like, almost every time. Like, I think you got to start thinking about once you get down to, like, 2 or 1, but at 4, I think they're still just clicking Sucker, personally, but it is what it is. Sucker Punch games are hard to win. Gets in the Moongus. Yeah, this thing's going to clean up. Just EQ, yep, dead. Acro, GG. Yeah, that Dragon Tail miss was very, very unfortunate. You would have removed the booster energy from the Iron Moth, your Dragonite wouldn't have died. Yeah, that's a very unfortunate game. So then the Cosmogs end up losing that. They play one more game, and the series ends 7-5. So after the end of week one, our team standings, you had the Exeggutors in first with a +4 differential. Star Supernova, okay, this shouldn't be 3. This should be +2 differential. I'll have to fix that. They're in second. We got Cosmogs in third. Phantom Troupe and Mafia tied fifth. Chancers in sixth. Plum Piloswines in seventh. Therians in eighth. Yeah, so that was our week one. Had a lot of good games. Series were overall like fairly close. Actually, wait, why are these -1s? These shouldn't be this one -1, and this should be -2. And this should be 0. Okay, I'll have to fix those later, but all right, thanks everyone for watching. Yeah, this went on longer than I thought. I ended up being an hour and a half. So in the future, I'm gonna have to cut down on the battles unless you guys want me to keep making hour-and-a-half long videos. Let me know, and I'll see you guys in week 2.